Professor Umunna is the Faculty Deputy Director of the Criminal Justice Institute, CJI, where she supervises third-year law students in their representation of adult and juvenile clients in criminal and juvenile proceedings in mass courts, including the Supreme Judicial Court. Her teaching interest and research focus on criminal law, criminal defense and theory, mass incarceration, and race issues. In addition to her work at HLS, Professor Umunna serves as a faculty member for Gideon's Promise, formerly the Southern Public Defenders Training Center, and is a frequent presenter at public defender training conferences and social justice reform panels around the country. She was recently appointed by the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court to the newly established Bar Admissions Curriculum Committee to assist in crafting the UBE, which many of us will be taking soon, hopefully. Prior to HLS, Professor Umunna spent several years at the Public Defender Service in DC as a Felony 1 trial attorney. She brings a wealth of experience and depth of knowledge unparalleled, but she is so much more than just a professor, a supervisor, or lecturer. She is the first Nigerian to be appointed as a professor at HLS and previously received HLS's Dean's Award for Excellence. She is a mother, a sister, a mentor, and friend. We're so honored to listen to her words of wisdom today. Professor Umunna.
Ooh. All right. Thank you, Camille, very much for that kind introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to my dining room at my home in Roxbury. Okay, so it's one of the greatest honors of my life to have been selected by the class to deliver a last lecture. I remember where I was when I received the invitation. It was February 11th at 1:37 a.m. I woke up for my time of devotion, and before I opened my Bible, I checked emails, and there it was. I was delighted to be counted among the 4 outstanding professors this year. It's a great honor, and I want you to know that I don't take it for granted, particularly since I imagined that I will be exhorting you from the baronial Austin 101 or the historic Ames courtroom or the fabled WCC classrooms. I imagined that I will walk into the room with a fresh haircut. I imagined that I will walk into that room with manicured nails and impart words of wisdom to a room full of students, that I will make eye contact, give a rousing speech, take your questions and break bread with you. But alas, here we are. And I'm speaking to you from my dining room, from my home. And you are somewhere in the universe, maybe in your PJs, with your pet, with a friend or family member, or maybe alone. And you're likely wondering how we got here. Class of 2020, so much has changed since February 11th. And I want to acknowledge that moment. I am so very sorry that our year together ended so abruptly and without fanfare. I want to acknowledge in this moment your disappointment, your despair, and despondency over the fact that life as we know it has been interrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. I am distressed that you will not have the opportunity for an in-person graduation on homes filled. I am upset that many of your life's big moments are being put on hold. Job offers have been deferred and career paths have been altered. I am saddened to know many of you are dealing with the mental, physiological, and psychological weight of this pandemic. You see, we've been introduced to a very unfamiliar terrain. Dr. Fauci has become a household name, sheltering in place, social distancing, remote learning, Zoom, and now staples of our vocabulary. And we're asking, whatever happened to the dream of basking in the delightful shouts and applause of family and friends as you walked the freshly cut grass of Holmesfield to pick up your diploma? What happened to taking the bar in July and starting your job soon thereafter? What happened to dancing awkwardly at the barrister's ball? What happened to the dream of toasting to the future of public service at Opia's Kaufman's dinner? Why should the world change in this way? And why now? Why couldn't the pandemic wait? Maybe till the end of May, June, July. Why did it even have to happen? By now, if you're like me, you're probably all zoomed out. You can only look at that many cats and dogs and fish and playful children before it all gets really old. And I'm pretty sure your misery index is likely at its highest. So what are we going to do now? What exactly are we going to do? In the midst of a season determined to bring us to our lowest point, where 33 million jobs have been lost. Over 1 million people in the United States have been infected with COVID-19. People can no longer afford to pay rent or their mortgages. Savings have been depleted. Millions of lives affected. Dreams aborted. Dreams interrupted as well. Careers disrupted. This new normal feels cruel. It feels complex, complicated. So why even bother? Well, if I've learned anything in life, it is that every traumatic event is an opportunity to reset for greatness. You know, church folks tend to say that you don't really have a testimony without a test. We are in a testing period. But you, class of 2020, you are a resilient group. You are capable of rising above the most traumatic events because I know this class. You can do it. See, I have had the distinct honor and privilege of teaching many of you, mentoring you, supervising you, standing with you as you embarked on protests, advising you as you made life decisions and choices. I have had breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee with many of you. I have laughed with a lot of you and cried with some of you. I have had the absolute pleasure of sharing in many of your life experiences. I have been there when many of you have received job offers. Some of you have gotten engaged. Yes, I have also been there for the breakups, the adoption of pets. I've been there when some of you have been sick and even experienced the death of family members and friends. And wonderfully, I have had the privilege of praying with some of you and certainly praying for all of you. So I know that you can get through this season. This too shall pass. I promise you that you will be okay. How am I so sure? Because I know you. I know your grit. I know your will, your character. You are an extraordinary class, incredibly smart, intelligent, inventive, talented. You've experienced much as a class together, and yet you have survived and you have thrived. And if you don't believe me, let's examine what's actually happened briefly in the 3 years that you've been in law school. 2017, the year that you began law school at HLS. Donald Trump is sworn in as the 45th president of the United States. The Me Too movement comes sharply into focus. Neo-Nazis and white supremacists gather in Charlottesville and Heather Heyer is killed. NFL players kneel during the national anthem. And 58 people were shot and killed in Texas. 2018, France wins the Super Bowl. France wins the World Cup, not the Super Bowl. My teenage son was happy. Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin died. John McCain dies. Apple becomes the world's first publicly traded company to achieve a market capitalization of $1 trillion. The deadliest fire in California's history killed 85 people. Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed to the US Supreme Court. Meghan Markle marries Prince Harry, and my teenage daughter is happy. 2019, several wealthy parents paid cash for their kids to get into college. 2 Boeing 737 MAX planes crashed, killing 346 people. Theresa May resigns as Prime Minister of Britain. Jeffrey Epstein dies in prison. Donald Trump is impeached. And Popeye's chicken sandwich craze takes over America. 2020, Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Yes. The United Kingdom withdraws from the European Union, a la Brexit. Kobe and Gigi Bryant, along with 7 other passengers, die in a helicopter crash. Harvey Weinstein is found guilty. The World Health Organization declares the coronavirus a pandemic. Joe Biden becomes the presumptive Democratic nominee, and Ahmaud Arbery is hunted down and killed. Those are just some of the events in the last 3 years that have impacted you and shaped your worldview, in addition to your classwork, your charity work, and things that you've had to deal with in your personal life. And yet, you all as a class have managed to achieve so much more. You have done it. Here's just a sampling of the sort of things this amazing class has done. You've argued in front of Judge Merrick Garland. You've tried and obtained not guilty verdicts in criminal cases. You've helped immigrant clients in immigration court. You've lobbied state Congress for the educational rights for underprivileged children. You've argued for dismissals of numerous cases in criminal court. You've petitioned for the release of clients. You've conducted robust COVID-19 litigation. You've become Skadden Fellows. You got married. You became parents. Those of you who are BSAAs shepherded one else through difficult times. You became PSVF Fellows. You founded the People's Parity Project. You started a famous satirical Twitter account. You got out the vote and you campaigned for the various candidates. You successfully wrote and directed parody. You advocated for bills in Washington, D.C. You got a dream internship with the Boston Celtics. You became published authors. You started a successful cooking program on Instagram. You wrote courageous amicus brief. Aha! You won thousands of dollars on Jeopardy! You visited clients in jails and prisons. You adopted pets. You conducted educational treks to Africa and the Middle East. You started a nonprofit to research and combat workplace discrimination. You won an international moot court competition. You started affinity groups and coalitions to foster community for groups historically underrepresented at HLS. You worked on 2020 presidential campaigns. You met with local representatives to advocate for various pressing social issues of our time. You led delegations to meet with members of the United Nations. And as soon as the pandemic broke out, you emailed, you called, and you said, what can we do to help? And help you did. And above all, each and every one of you have made Harvard Law School a better community. You did that. And for that, I thank each and every one of you. So what could I possibly share with this overachieving class, this awesome class, this fantastic class? Well, I've lived life long enough. I have a few tips. So yesterday, I turned 47 years old. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm 3 years away from 50. But as is my practice, I spent time in reflection. Serious questions such as, who am I? Am I living my best life? Am I fulfilling my purpose? Am I happy? How am I defining happiness? If I died this moment, how will the world remember me? How would my children remember me? Am I making this world a better place? I reminded myself that I still needed to learn how to ride a bike and learn how to swim. Long story. As I looked over the tapestry that is my life, I realized how blessed I have been. I was born in London, England, to a Nigerian father. and my mother is from Sierra Leone. I immigrated to the United States 28 years ago, went to college, graduate school, and then law school. Got married. I'm a domestic violence survivor, got divorced, found my calling as a public defender, became a mom to two incredibly awesome children, Ifani and Edozie. I have been blessed to be appointed a clinical professor here at Harvard Law School. I have had the privilege of representing clients whose cases have attracted great media attention. And I've also had the privilege of representing juveniles when they're just alone by themselves in the courtroom. I have been buffeted by trials that should floor most people. I have known poverty and lack. I know what it's like to be hurt and hurt deeply. I know what it means to feel insecure, afraid, and alone. I know what it means to have your value and your worth questioned. I have made mistakes, fallen flat on my face. I also know what it means to be happy and joyful and to count on the prayers and blessings of others. I know what it means to trust my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ through many, many storms. I have earned some battle scars. And along the way, I have experienced the highs and lows of life. I have acquired some wisdom, I shall tell you. I mean, I can tell you that it's important for you to pick your battles. Not every fight is worth having. I can tell you that you need to be principled, to have a moral compass, so that when the storms of life come for you, you have an anchor. These principles apply to your life, your career, and self-care. But I have 5 that I would like to share with you before we wrap up. The first is this. I would love for you to develop an intense sense of gratitude. Rabbi Harold Kushner says that if you concentrate on finding whatever is good in every situation, you will discover that your life will suddenly be filled with gratitude, a feeling that nurtures the soul. One might question, what do we have to be grateful for in this season? You might complain that you at home sheltering and that you have to wear a mask and have to wash your hands. But consider this. What if you didn't have a home to shelter in? Or what if you were too sick to wear a mask? What if you had no running water with which to wash your hands? Did you know that 30% of the Navajo Nation have no access to running water? It reminds me of the man who complained that he did not have any shoes until he met a man without feet. I am asking you to be grateful for even the simplest things, for the air, water, shelter, electricity, children, flowers, even disappointments. I am grateful for you, for each and every one of you. Yesterday, I went to the office. I have been designated a essential personnel, which means I get to go to HLS, pick up the mail, what are the plans, send motions, that kind of thing. You're only supposed to be there for an hour or less. But I look forward now to my trips to HLS. Who will have thought that I will actually love going to HLS? Now I look forward to it. I talk to the plants at the CJI office because I miss the students so much. I go to the basement of WCC, and as I walk through the empty halls, I think about the days I have hurried through the hallway to avoid conversation because I'm running late. And now I longed for those days, just to have the students say, "Hi, Professor Umunna," and to engage them. There is no one when I walk through the hallways now, and I miss that. It makes me grateful for the little things. I hope that you will develop an intense sense of gratitude for even the little things in life. It is said, some wise person once said that gratitude turns what we have into enough. And Willie Nelson says, when I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around. The second piece of wisdom I want to leave you with is say it now, do it now. On May 3rd, 2018, I was in court in Roxbury with my 20-year-old client. After a contested hearing, his case was dismissed. Excitedly, I turned to him and said, one more case to go. We can win this thing and you'll be done and you'll move on with your life. We'll get you a job and you can just go on. He looked at me with a solemn look and he said, I feel like I'm not gonna make it till the next court date. I feel like I'm gonna be dead before then. Oh, I chided him, telling him that that's a kind of foolish talk that I did not want to hear. I told him that he had a lot of potential. I told him that I reminded him that he had a baby on the way. I told him that I would zealously advocate for him with every fiber of my bone, every fiber in me. He shrugged, thanked me, and left the courthouse. It was the last time I saw him. It was the last time I saw him alive. 48 hours later, he was dead. His bullet-ridden body had been recovered on Cross Street in Roxbury. I went to his funeral. At his funeral, there were loads of beautiful flowers. There were tons of people. There were over 200 people. I was stunned. I didn't know these many people knew him. I didn't know this many people cared. I didn't know he had this many supporters. After all, he slept in cars. He went hungry for most days. He always told me that he was alone, that people didn't care about him. It was really very confusing. I wondered what he would say to all those who had gathered. I wondered what they would say to him. I recalled my last conversations with him, and I wondered if I had said everything that I needed to say to him. There were the people expressing their grief, and I wondered what they would have said to him while he was alive. And so, you see, during this pandemic, many people are dying without nary a goodbye from friends and family. People are dying alone and afraid. So if you have something to say it now. Affirm your friend now. Encourage your family members now. Tell your sibling you love them now. Don't put off conversations that need to be had now. Forgive now. Encourage now. Don't leave words that need to be said unsaid. You may never get another chance to do so. It bothers me greatly when people are honored after they're dead. You see, during this pandemic, we've been honoring first responders. Why can't we do that every day? Why can't we affirm people regularly? When they die, it's of no use. Say what you need to say now. You cannot do a kindness too soon because you never know how soon it will be too late. That was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said that. The third piece of wisdom that I'd like to leave with you is to do meaningful work. What does that really mean? What exactly does that mean? When I was 19 years old, I visited Her Majesty's Royal Prison in Aylesbury, England. I went to visit my brother. At the time, he was a 17-year-old first-time offender charged with a weapons crime. I was heartbroken when I entered the prison. My brother explained that it was a little misunderstanding. I was tasked with finding him counsel, finding a lawyer. And every lawyer I consulted seemed hurried. I wanted to tell them who my brother was. He was a young kid who loved soccer, would get up and walk around while he was still asleep. I wanted them to know his story, that he was a sweet, misguided kid, that he was still a kid who deserved a second chance. I wanted them to care, to be his voice. It was difficult to find someone who cared about the 17-year-old Black boy. They seemed indifferent, you see, to his personal narrative. It was at that moment I knew I wanted to be a public defender. I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. I wanted to be somebody who made a difference. I wanted to be the kind of lawyer I wish my brother had. That is why every time I am charged with representing someone and I look at them, I think of my brother. It makes me work hard. It makes me work with passion. It makes me work zealously. It is the most meaningful work I have ever done. That and teaching you to be the best advocates you can be for anyone you represent. Do work that keeps you motivated. Whether you're working in the public or private sector, do work that makes a difference. Use your talent, time, and treasure for good. You are graduating with a law degree from Harvard Law School, one of the most prestigious schools on the face of the earth. There are obligations and responsibilities that are associated with that task. Use your degree for good. And while you're busy doing meaningful work, be a badass. In other words, be the best you can be. Do your work with passion, integrity, and rectitude. Now listen to me. Please listen to me. People may not like you. They don't have to like you. But don't give them a reason to question the quality and heart of your work. They may nonetheless find fault with you, but do not be the one to give them the reasons to do so. Treat those you work for and work with dignity, respect, and humanity. Fourth thing I'd like to share with you, be your authentic self and take care of yourself. One Saturday morning, I drove to the jail. I parked my car, got out of my car, and began to walk towards the building. As I walked, I was met with a quizzical gaze from our staff investigator. He whispered, "What are you wearing?" while looking down at my feet. I realized I was wearing 2 different shoes. I don't know how I managed that, how I managed to leave my home with the little children at home and went to the jail in 2 different shoes. Needless to say that it was a signal that I needed to slow down, that I wasn't really taking care of myself, and that if I wasn't taking care of myself, something had to give. Be your authentic self. Now, when I say be your authentic self, that is not a license to be a jerk or unkind or mean. Instead, remember that you are created to be uniquely you. There's really only one you. Every day, be intentional and deliberate about being the best version of yourself. In doing so, you will find your calling, your purpose. Part of you being authentic is to take care of yourself. Take time to breathe. Take time to enjoy those you love. Really practice self-care. I have learned, and I'm still learning, that you cannot help others if you are running on empty. Finally, learn something new every day. During this sheltering at home period, many of you have discovered so many hidden talents: baking, cooking, singing, interior decorating, becoming a pet parent. Commit to learning something new every day, from the silly to the mundane to the extraordinary. Learn something new and have fun doing it. So, class of 2020, I salute you. I thank you for being you. And because you know me well, you know that I will not end my remarks without giving you a blessing. My faith is anchored in this very truth. So I will read to you from Numbers 6, and then I will say a prayer. Numbers 6. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. I pray that you are blessed with the tools that you would need to do what you have been called to do. I pray that you will thrive despite any setbacks. May you know joy and the thrill of honest work. May your failures and deficits not keep you from your destiny. I pray that the highs will outnumber and outlast the lows. I pray that life won't make you bitter or resentful. I pray that you will do good and leave people better than you found them. I pray that you will always speak and not be silent wherever there is injustice. I pray that you will discover your purpose. I pray that you will have righteous anger that spurs you to action. I speak life into this class. Indeed, I pray blessings over you. Amen. Thank you, and God bless you. And go class of 2020. And somewhere around here, I had a glass of my, ginger limeade. It's not flat yet, so I lift a glass to you and I say, oh, I thought I was gonna get through this without crying. Okay, and I say that I'm incredibly proud of you, and I thank you for being your amazing self. Now let's go do this. Thank you.
We love you, Professor Umunna.
Thank you so much, Professor Umunna. I'm sure that you didn't have to go silent. You can hear all the clapping, but I'm sure that we can all do some clap reacts. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your personal and deepest experiences, talking to us about the highs and lows of life as a lawyer, to be zealous advocates, but to remain ourselves, and to be the best that we can be for ourselves and for those around us. Just want to express my appreciation deeply for those remarks. So we'll move into a question and answer period, or just people, if you want to react or give their thoughts, to do so. So if we can have people put their hands up with the hands up function, then we'll call on you to unmute and share some thoughts. And feel free to put your cameras on if you're offering a question, or if you're just part of the conversation, or if you just want to be seen. That's definitely encouraged. Thank you.